Dave's cranky this morning.
Yeah.
I didn't get a lot of sleep either. This is fun. So
I think you just need to I think you need to be more regimented and just go to bed. Yesterday, you were like, yeah, I went to sleep at 8 a.m.
yes,
Like, maybe that's not...
for an hour,
Yeah.
and then I came into work.
We are not nocturnal.
Wait, that might be a fun character, like jaded, tired, like angy Dave.
Prison Mike.
Yeah, like 9 a.m., 1 cup of coffee, 4 hours of sleep. That's the Dave we got right now.
Or Dave's evil twin brother, anti-Dave.
That's his alter ego.
Brother, don't do me a favor and put the mag back in that gun.
Yeah.
It's staging.
Oh, now shoot it directly into my eye. Make sure it's shooting PB.
But your Infinity kit shoots really, really well. And with AEGs, it's always like you want it to be as quiet and as snappy as that. And there's some AEG builds where you can do that. That's the stemma you have is. But then like the other systemas, like just the standard.
It also has
ones.
range that's unexplainable.
I know.
Yesterday I counted it at 320.
Yeah.
And I think Josh, at the end of the day, Josh was like, dude, your gun has stupid range. I was like, I don't know why. I just used 3.0s in it.
I think their heavy barrels have something to do with it.
They are thicker. Yeah.
I think
There's no reverberation or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, even if you think if you were to hold an inner barrel when a gun fires,
What the was that?
That is a crow.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Crow. They're so smart. Smartest birds on the planet.
If I could go back
some
in
would say.
time and stop whoever put skylights in this building from
Oh,
I would do it.
Dude, late 90s, everybody wanted skylights.
Yeah, cool. No.
We built my grandmother's place with skylights in it. Guess what skylights do?
Leak.
They leak.
Yeah.
Let's put a hole in your roof.
because all the wood around it expands and contracts.
Everything. There's nothing you can do.
Let's put a hole in your roof and cover it with glass and call it artistic.
You can call it autism.
It's neat. Makes the space feel bigger.
I still have to order that shirt.
Yeah, like if you took an AEG barrel, you shot the gun, and if you held the barrel, you probably wouldn't feel the vibration in your hand, the way like you'd feel a baseball bat ringing if you hit a ball with it.
Depends on where you hit it on the
But
baseball
you got to
bat.
think
Baseball
like,
bats have nodes.
Yeah,
Fucking-
depends. Are you hitting it on the
Yeah.
barrel of the bat or are you hitting it on the fucking...
But like an inner barrel, like how much would that like? Would you feel it in your hand? Probably not. But would its resonance have more effect on a small plastic projectile
It might have, yeah, for sure.
going through it?
And it might have
Probably.
more effect on the second shot.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? First shot creates the vibration. The second shot
Yeah.
is affected by it.
That's why like.
And each subsequent shot.
That's why it actually, aside from preventing an inner barrel from wobbling and causing like baffle strikes, that's why it's really beneficial to use like aluminum tape and Teflon tape on the inner barrel to make it a snug fit.
Snake oil.
Barrel.
Anthony, can you do me one favor? Because you did this a lot last episode. Talk into your mic.
Into the
over-
mic,
Yeah,
okay.
not over your mic. Because there were moments in time where
Well,
you got
I'm
so sucked into your computer.
I'm gonna
that you're
bend
just
again.
like, I'm over here doing my computer thing and your mic's just like
I
looking at your
I
cheek.
do wish the mic stand was like a little bit
I know.
lower and I can.
I understand.
Well, when you do your podcast, you can buy lower stands.
What do
you? Banana.
I mean, we can talk. I mean, we can obviously talk forever about Systema versus AEG.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Zulu 24 podcast. As always, I am joined by Anthony from Gun Place and Jordan from some Ear Place. You didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Enjoy.
Dave's cranky this morning.
Yeah.
I didn't get a lot of sleep either. This is fun. So
Wait, that might be a fun character, like jaded, tired, like angy Dave.
Prison Mike.
Yeah, like 9 a.m., 1 cup of coffee, 4 hours of sleep. That's the Dave we got right now.
or Dave's evil twin brother, anti-Dave.
That's his alter ego.
Brother, don't do me a favor and put the mag back in that gun.
Yeah.
It's staging.
Oh, now shoot it directly into my eye. Make sure it's shooting PBs. Oh, God.
He's like, if you don't want to fog, just wear Mesh Eye Pro and nothing else.
No, if you don't want to fog, just don't wear eye pro.
He just says the
Make sure you
opposite.
take your eye pro off when you go up on the field, okay?
Yeah. Do I need to wear eye pro on the field? I don't know. Are you a grown man?
That just gave me flashbacks to Saturday. Like, we didn't talk too much about it on Saturday, but like,
Oh, man.
I love rental players. They're the future of the sport. But some of them just like, I feel like every time we speak, it's like in one ear, directly out the other. Like, hey, bud, don't put your mag in your gun until we're on the field. Okay, roger that. Got it. Puts his mag back in his gun. What did I just tell you? Followed up by we're on the field. He just takes his goggles off. I'm like, come on.
So some of that can be attributed to like paintball, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying paintball is good or bad or whatever. I played paintball for many years, and the culture, the industry standard with paintball is when you're out on the field, the ref blows the whistle, whatever the hell, or however they signal that the game is over.
You take your mask off.
No, put your barrel condoms on, then you can take your mask off, right? Like that's just kind of industry standard. And so if you've ever played paintball at all, then that could be what you're thinking. Like, game's over. Okay, like
these kids were like 40.
The one time I played paintball, the field we went to, it wasn't like Zulu where it was all open, and then maybe we would put imaginary borders to use certain sections for games. They actually had meshed off. So how big on average is like a paintball field?
They vary.
Yeah, it depends on where you go.
They vary.
Because like we used
like
to
a map on a paintball field.
Well, that's why people come here and they say, what map are we playing, right?
Right.
Because in paintball, you play, like if you go, I don't know, to skirmish, right?
Yeah.
You go there, you pay your money, you do your entry, whatever. And then the ref that's with you is like, okay, we're going to play this map first, right? Like paintball always sectioned their fields off.
Yeah.
That way they could have multiple groups multiple times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because whoever monetized paintball was super business minded and was like, let's try to pack as much as we can. Airsoft's much different.
It makes it easier to manage too. I think that's why you can just use a whistle to tell them to put their mask on.
Sure.
Well, I mean, so like
because the maps are smaller.
Prior
if we did that here,
it would suck.
You'd be over the radio. All right, they could put their iPro on now, and you're at Haji Camp, and the other team's all the way at Vietnam.
Yeah, but like prime
you'd be
example,
like, what?
Tyler and I, prior to working here, we used to play at Liberty, which is a paintball field across the river. They did that. Like every field is sectioned off into individual fields. And I liked their rule because I had played at both an airsoft and a paintball field before where it was like, as soon as the game's over, put your barrel sock on, take your iPro off, like it's fine. Liberty wouldn't let you take your iPro off until you were off the field you were playing on, because like the way they had staged their fields was almost like with the nets, they made a hallway leading to all of the fields.
Yeah.
So as long as you had your barrel covers on,
it's like Squid Games.
Sort of. Like you could walk to, like if we're playing at the Star Wars field, which is all the way in the back, you had to walk past every other field down this hallway of nets. As soon as you get to the field, you put your iPro on. Once you walk into the net, you can take your barrel cover off, and then reverse coming out. So like game's over, walk off the field, make sure your barrel cover's on. Once you get outside of the net, you can take your iPro off. I liked that, but like, I've played in an airsoft field where as soon as the game was over, barrel cover's on, iPro comes off.
Yeah.
The downside with maps and nets is that now you can't use this big open field for a really big game.
Yes, you can, because those nets are on strings, much like these ones.
They pull them
at
back.
Liberty, they were like, hey, we don't have a lot of paintball players here today. Do we want to just like use 3 fields at once? And the refs would walk over and just like undo the little clips, push the nets apart, and now 2 fields turned into 1, and then 3 fields turned into 1. It was cool. I liked that aspect. Also, like paintball money means they have paintball fields, which means they have really cool shit.
Yeah.
So like Liberty had a Star Wars field that they had like scale size TIE fighters and AT-ATs, and they had a World War II field with like scaled tanks. I don't know if they still have it because they moved, but this was like 9 years ago. Super fun.
I lied. I played paintball twice. They were both birthday parties I went to as a kid. The first place I actually went to, it wasn't just a field. They actually had like zip lining and like outdoor courses and stuff.
So it was like an adventure park.
Yeah, like an adventure park.
And they're all local to here. They would leave pamphlets out.
Yeah, I remember doing something like that when I was working at a summer camp. We took the CITs to like an adventure park that was like rope courses, zip lining, shit like that.
Yeah.
The CITs?
Counselors in training.
Oh.
Yeah, at the summer camp I worked at, you had to be 17 to be a counselor, but between the ages of 13 and 17, you were a counselor in training.
If Airsoft made paintball money, we could have a zip line here.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
They did like summer camp stuff. It was actually really cool. Like they're like maximizing that property.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
They're like, yo, let's have zip lining. You know, there's like a bunch of dudes that own it.
Yeah.
They're like, let's do all this cool stuff. They probably have kids and they want to give their kids this experience.
Yeah.
And then they have this business, and now it's like,
and we'll put a trampoline park over here.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's America.
That's how Disney started.
With zip lines and trampolines.
Yeah, and paintball.
Yeah.
So I'm told.
Yeah. So like having guests on for me is really interesting. There's the algorithm thing. It's like pushing the podcast, but also like,
Yeah.
having US Airsoft on for me, I was super interested in that episode because when I first started playing Airsoft, I was watching his videos and I was like, now that we have this podcast and a platform, it actually gives people like him some reason or incentive to come and just chat with us, which is cool because why would any stranger that we don't know want to talk to us specifically about something, you know? So having a forum to do that on is cool because then like you get to meet these people and pick their brains. And I find everybody really interesting. I don't really care who the guest is.
Yeah.
You know, I find everybody super interesting. Everybody has like a story to tell. And, you know, with US Airsoft, we learned a lot about his personal life in that podcast. And
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Really interesting. It's really like you think a YouTuber with a following like that, because we don't know how YouTube works or monetization works generally until you try to do it yourself. You think that they're like,
I'm thoroughly convinced that every YouTuber that is in that level where they're like, I'm monetizing and like making money off ads, they actually have no idea what they're doing and they're just flying by the seat of their pants. That's what I'm convinced.
Yeah, you think that they're all just like doing really well. And Scott was like super straight up. He's just like, people think I'm like rich because I have all these subscribers on YouTube. He's like, it's not like that at all.
Yeah.
You know? And it's cool to talk to those people that you see on the internet, but you don't meet. And now it's like, like they're human beings.
He's just
So
another nerd like
So
us.
like that's the value I find in podcasts. I think that's why people like Joe Rogan, because then when he has a guest on that you only see in movies or you only see him in interviews or you only see them in whatever content they're putting out, when they talk to somebody like Joe Rogan or like Theo Vaughn, right? You get to like see like who or how they actually are.
It's just a conversation. And I think as humanity, we've strayed from social interaction, right? Like everything's on a screen, and we started, basically with Apple, building their computer in the 80s, and then like we're circling right back around to face-to-face conversation, right? So that's where we're at. We're at the last digital form of human conversation. Everything and Unsubscribe podcast is actually already doing this, and I'm sure other people are already doing this as well. They're doing live shows.
Yep.
So we are essentially circling right back to like
actually,
the 1900s town crier, like where people can physically engage with each other again. I think it's great.
But when we had Tom, we were outside, right?
Yeah,
and we had
a
like
little-
we had a
an
handful
audience.
of people out
That's
there.
right.
It was like, that's why I like doing the live stream while we did the podcast.
Yeah.
Because now it's like having that feedback is cool. I like the engagement of it.
And those like 10 people that were out there, they even said at the end of it, they're like, that was actually really funny.
Yeah.
And like way cooler to watch in person than it was over the internet.
All right, we're announcing it right here. We're doing a world tour starting with Jordan's garage.
Oh,
At his house.
It'd be cool to have a
Throw the
mobile.
kayaks outside.
It'd be cool to do a mobile podcast.
It's going to happen, dude. I mean, like I said, Unsubscribed has already done it. They already sold out like 4 or
Well,
5
I mean, we could start.
venues and shit. Like,
Okay,
Like,
so
what if we went to Amped
idea?
and we did a podcast episode at Amped?
So
with
they've done that
with
before.
Amped. Like we-
I will tell you, their media room is not big enough for this.
Yeah.
yeah, we just do it right in the center of the store.
Or-
No, you know where we do it?
Their arena. If
Tom, you're gonna hate me. Yeah, exactly.
If-
We're
when
gonna
they're
do it
closed.
right in the arena. So now, having visited them and seen it, their media room is half the size of Anthony's shop.
Nice.
It's just big enough for 2 people to sit side by side and 1 person behind a camera with a wide angle lens. That's it.
So it's like Harry Potter's bedroom.
Yeah, it's like Bobby's corner.
It's the stairs.
Yeah, but their field. So their field is open Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Their field is actually their warehouse where they store all their inventory.
That
And
field-
I might have to cut that. I don't know how much of that I could say. But because of that, there's this wide open space, and they actually have a lounge upstairs for parents to look over the field
That's awesome.
with like a couch and a table and like a water cooler. That would actually be a pretty funny spot to be like, Tom, we're coming to Amped and we're doing a podcast up there.
Well, down.
Yeah.
I've always loved the catwalk idea.
So they don't have that.
letting people observe the gameplay from top down.
Yeah, this is like if you put okay. So like if the very first building in CQB, if you made that 3 floors and put a viewing area on the 3rd floor, that's what their viewing area is. Like it's on the corner of the field and it overlooks like you can realistically see like probably a third of the field straight down and like 2/3 of it from like an angle.
Yeah.
that's how it is. It's cool. I would go play there. It'd be a fun time. But yeah, I think their max player count, they said, is like 40 people.
That's fine. I mean, they're honestly, they don't really need it to be.
Even Tom said he's like, it's cool because it gives people a place to come play that's inside of Pittsburgh, and they don't have to travel like an hour to go play.
Yeah.
CQB, when it's too many people, is not that fun either, in my opinion.
Sure. Never is. Going back to the influencers, though.
Yeah.
Do you think that airsoft celebrities, in quotations, airsoft celebrities add value to the sport?
I do, but I have reservations with most of it.
And what are those reservations?
So give me 1 sec. We're right at the 20-minute mark.
Oh, my God.
I have to reset all those cameras. Hold on.
Filler time. It's filler time. Anthony, how was your day?
My day so far, well, we missed my son's bus. I drove him to school.
Did you scold him incessantly?
No, it actually wasn't his fault.
No, it's always his fault. He could have got up 5 minutes earlier.
No, it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
No, I was the one that was up all night and slept in.
You fucking
Yeah.
dad of the year.
Yeah, I think I have like sleep apnea or something.
Sleep apnea?
Yeah.
Describe what you think sleep apnea is.
No matter how many hours of sleep I get, I'm not rested.
I think you just don't sleep enough. I think
either that or my like circadian rhythm is so off. Also, another thing I think it is, so we moved into this condo and there were just no curtains or blinds on the windows. And there were curtain rods. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to get curtains. That's the quickest, cheapest thing I can do to get privacy.
Yeah.
And I like the ability to block sunlight.
Did you get blackout?
Every single curtain in the house is blackout.
Nice.
So when I close them at night so that we have privacy,
Yeah.
I almost don't know when the sun is up. So I was thinking it's just getting a second rod and then having curtains that'll let light through but are still private. The sunlight, like your core body temperature, the temperature of your room, and like the light coming in, and also when you fall asleep and when you eat and like that stuff will affect like when you actually wake up.
So
Andrew Huberman had a podcast on it. I listened to it. Like I didn't like seek it out, but there's studies done on sleep,
Yeah.
and really like you fall asleep when your core body temperature drops. So that's why it's recommended to fall asleep in a cool room or to take a hot shower before you sleep, because then your core body temperature drops and then you can actually fall asleep easier.
Yes.
And
I think you just need to I think you need to be more regimented and just go to bed.
it's
Was it yesterday you were like, yeah, I went to sleep at 8 a.m.
yes,
Like maybe that's not
for an hour.
Yeah.
And then I came into work.
We are not nocturnal.
Yeah.
Like, we just aren't. There are years and years and years, decades of studies about people who work overnight shifts and shit, and like how their suicide rates are higher and how their general health is lower. Like we are not nocturnal at all. As much as you like to think you're a night owl, you are not.
No.
Like our
No, I'm
bodies
not.
just aren't made for that.
I read something that if you think you're a night owl, you're actually not. It's like sometimes when you stay up, you're actually doing it because subconsciously you felt like you didn't have much control over what you did during the day. So
Yeah, so more time.
You're trying to regain that control at night. So then you'll stay up and do shit you shouldn't be doing, like playing Tarkov or playing
believe
Fallout 4.
I believe it. Hey, Tarkov's important, okay?
So it's Fallout 4. I got to
That's
save
research.
the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Got to find my son Sean.
Shut up, real. I'm looking for your brother Sean.
I'm like, I would do this to find you.
We should probably bleep, actually.
Yeah, we will.
All right. Do airsoft celebrities add value to the sport?
Yes, but no.
Yes, but no. Why yes, but no?
I'd say yes and no.
Yes and no. I'm going
Okay.
to say nothing.
Okay, so realistically, there are so many of them off the top of my head. I can name a few of them like Novrich, Jet, US Airsoft, Alphonse. All of them do something very important, which is attract people to the sport. So like, how many times have we seen a random Facebook or Instagram page that's just like, look at this cool thing, and they ripped off a Novrich video or they ripped off an Alphonse video and they like stole a clip and now it's got millions of views, kind of like what Nico Ortiz did with our stuff.
Mhm.
So that's great because now people are like, what's this airsoft thing? And then they look it up and then they come try and play airsoft. That is perfect. that is such a big help to the sport. Those dudes do a phenomenal job. The problem is those influencers that use their platform to essentially, I don't want to say brainwash new players, but convince players to believe that everything they use is the only thing that's good, or everything that they make or use is the only thing worth your time and interest. Like, players are believing everything they see on the internet and not doing their own due diligence, which maybe it's a people problem. Maybe it's people see like, oh, well, this dude's got 10 million subscribers. Whatever he uses must be good. When in reality, it's like, hey, which company gave it to him for free? Because we're on the inside of the industry.
Well, or in Average's case, which product does he manufacture?
Correct.
Yeah. Which you can't fault him for that.
No, I
That's
can't.
just
That's
promotion.
a great business idea. The problem I have with it is the players that then believe everything that whoever their favorite airsoft YouTuber is, everything they say is like the gospel to them. So, like, for a prime example, the amount of times I've had kids come in here with the new Noverage, clocks, high kappas, or M4s that are having problems because they put a gate aster in it, or because the high kappa is actually made by WE, shit like that. And it breaks, and they're like, oh, I don't understand. Well, now you got to call Noverage because he's the only one that's going to do the warranty claim on it. Sorry, dude. Like, stuff like that where maybe it was a good product for them in the start, but long term now, like, those players aren't happy with them, and they're realizing they spent a lot of money on something that actually isn't much better than anything else that you could get off the wall or off of e-bike or from us. That's where I have a problem, is people just not doing their due diligence to be like, oh, maybe it's not the best thing in the world just because this dude that has a lot of subscribers uses it. There's not, I wouldn't say transparency, but that might be the right word. There's not enough transparency from some YouTubers where it's like, hey, just because I use it doesn't mean it's amazing. Like, this company gave it to me for free. I'm just testing it out. Stuff like that.
I'd say what would be the definition of an airsoft celebrity?
To me, it's like,
at what point do you cross that line?
Is there a difference between celebrity and influencer?
I would say, like, well, I mean, you could be influential and not be,
because I feel like they're the same term,
celebrity.
just slightly different. Because, like, to me, Admin Airsoft is an influencer. He's on his like third account now, but at one point in time, like, he had 5-digit numbers on his Instagram, and people go to him once a week and submit their kit pics to do, Wednesday drip day, stuff like that. And his videos get views. So to me, he's an influencer. So is US Airsoft. So is Alphonse. What classifies a celebrity versus an influencer?
I think any content is influential. Like, it'll have an influence on you. Anything you see will influence you. But a celebrity,
advertisement, that's what it's called.
like, when I think of a celebrity, I think of somebody that at this point, like, they're just famous for being famous.
Well, no, celebrity means that just a lot of people know about you.
Yeah. So like, if you have,
You can use celebrity to gain influence.
like, I feel like when people type in airsoft that don't know what it is, they're going to click on the video with the 1 million views before they click on one that has 100 views.
And we have seen like a branching out of the airsoft content. Like, now, oh man, Corridor Digital, I forgot what they rebranded to, but they've started playing airsoft because they're hanging out in LA. Like, that's where their studio is. They've become friends with Jet and them. So because of that, now we're seeing a crossover where these dudes that were using airsoft guns for props in their small movie productions are now, maybe they're not playing open play, but like, there's videos of like the Corridor dudes going to indoor fields in California and running private games where they do like Trouble in Terrorist Town and stuff like that. And those videos are now being shown to people outside of the airsoft sphere, and that's getting more people to come play. So like, it's great that that's a thing, and it's great we have stuff like YouTube. I just wish that more people took everything with a grain of salt.
See, I think those guys who are just spreading the gospel, if you will, are fine. Where I start to get a little bit like, is when they're representing airsoft in a way that is disingenuous and it's the elitist attitude, right?
Oh, that's a huge problem.
Like, I mean, man.
Are we going to say it?
No, I mean, GMR. Yeah.
Okay.
We can say, GMR, right? So regardless of what you think about GMR, they were absolutely influencers, especially in our area, right? Long Island for sure.
Yeah.
And they were effective.
Yeah.
They were effective at playing the game, sport, hobby, whatever you want to call it, of airsoft, because they were a team who came up with standards, adhered to those standards physically and whatever, and they took it to the next level. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think everybody should get with a group of guys and come up with SOPs. I don't even care what your SOPs are. Your SOPs, we meow at each other. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's an SOP. It's something that we know we can do with each other. Whatever, right? I've always said if you get 12 guys just shooting in the right direction, you're 10 steps ahead of everybody else. I mean, those guys were obviously 100 steps of everybody.
Yeah.
Ahead of everybody. The problem was the elite fucking attitude, dude. The way that they carried themselves, and I'm not speaking about everybody. I don't know everybody on GMR.
Oh, well, the names have rotated in and out.
Sure, right? Their rosters probably changed. But
it shows in the way they interact with people face to face.
Yes.
At events.
Right? Like you're allowed to be elite.
Now, with that, everybody in GMR I met personally, and I actually spoke to face to face, they're nice. You know, even like if we had flea market here.
In the parking lot, yes.
Yeah.
But like, you're allowed to be elite, but being a dickhead and being elite are not required for each other. You can be elite and be a freaking nice guy. It's weird, right? Like that's the part where, and I see some trends with that with some quote unquote airsoft celebrities, where they're just hurting people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're not.
It kind of falls in the same category as like the fights and flip outs videos.
Well, those are just lowbrow.
That's different.
That's low hanging fruit.
That's Airsoft's live leak.
Not only that, yeah, it's just because of the way we're wired as humans, like those videos are always going to do well.
Yeah. I hate those too. No,
they don't help the sport at all.
No.
When the question is like, do they add value? I say yes and no, because in some sense they really do. Because like how many players come here that we see every weekend now, and we're friends with them, that when they first got into the sport, they were just like, they saw Novrich videos and they wanted to try it. And now they got into Airsoft that way.
Well, that's the other thing.
I consider Scout the Doggy an Airsoft celebrity, even though he himself is not.
He's just
the face.
He's just a dude with a camera. And to be fair, that's what got me in Airsoft.
That's what got everybody.
Yeah. Everyone of like 10 years ago got in Airsoft from watching Scout the Doggy.
I consider like even so you've heard of the Airsoft tech?
Yes.
Like if you look up a tech tutorial, you're likely going to find one of his videos, or you're going to find Airsoft Team Kilo.
Yep.
Remember Airsoft Team Kilo? This was like, there was not tech content on YouTube. So you were learning from these guys. And these are just dudes that worked on guns and just showcased it. They weren't like trying to make a big business out of it. They made the content just to make the content because they like doing it. Mm-hmm. And I would say that like the Airsoft tech is very influential. Like I heard of Brill Armory, probably the best place to buy parts if you're a tech. I've heard about Brill Armory through Airsoft Tech's videos, and he's influential insofar as like you can get good, reliable information from this guy who knows what he's talking about because he builds airsoft guns and
that's what I like.
Giving good info. And, you know, amongst the tech sphere, we know who the Airsoft tech is.
Yeah.
You know, so I'd say he definitely adds value to the sport. I can't think of any negative that he's
but that's a great one because that's something where kind of on the same lines I'm talking about. You can go to him and understand that you're still going to get good information. It's not just trying to sell a product. It's not just saying, hey, because I do it this way, this is the way you should do it. Like it's giving you the information and explaining to you why. Because I've seen some of his videos. It's not just like it's this way or no way. That's good content where someone can build their own opinion off of it and they can actually come to their own conclusion and be like, I understand why he's doing this. This is a good tech tutorial. Stuff like that.
I think and this is my opinion, and this is a theory, really. I don't know how it would play out if things were different, but the situation for airsofters on YouTube is that pretty much if you're showing the things that truly are airsoft, you know,
you're getting demonetized or whatever. You're buried. So
if you have those subscribers, and if you actually do spend your day-to-day life making content, and you need to monetize that, but you can't because YouTube, Google, Meta, right? It's gun content. Where else are you going to make money from? Well, it's going to be your sponsors.
Yep.
So now you're really at the whim of your sponsors. And you see this with gun tubers too, with SDI. And then you start to see videos that, maybe SDI is a scam. And you see all these bad reviews and people that went through the SDI program never actually got a job, or they tried to get a job as a gunsmith. And the fact that they did SDI meant nothing to the places that they were applying for.
Yep.
You know, so
I think we've all watched that video.
Airsofters and gun tubers are really at the whim of whatever's going to pay for their livelihood.
Bills, man.
Because
Everybody's got bills.
Because they made the decision to make this their livelihood. So with airsofters, you'll see them review certain products.
Yep.
Like airsofters that review stuff, how many of them genuinely just have their own money and only review things that they choose to buy?
Oh, probably 1% of the 1%.
Right.
No,
Like
I think 99%.
No, I'm talking about in terms of like the airsoft YouTubers that do it. It's probably 1% of them. Like random people trying to make a YouTube channel. Yeah, sure, they're going to go buy that product themselves. But we're talking specifically about influencers. Most of them get that product sent to them.
I mean, Jet buys.
Yeah, if you're talking,
tons.
if you're talking about the top 1% of 1%, sure. But I'm saying 99.9% of
like, if
anybody
you just-
trying to break into YouTube with they're
like,
buying their own stuff.
If I wanted to just look up like that G&G CM16, whatever it is on the wall. Yeah, if I type that into YouTube, I'm going to get 100 videos from like anyone between the ages of 14 and 25 that are trying to start an airsoft YouTube channel where they do an unboxing and an overview. But if I'm looking for like someone that has more than 10,000 subscribers and making a video on this gun, they probably didn't buy that. It was probably sent to them by Evike or G&G directly. And they're going to give you a positive review. It's like watching the Evike review of a gun that Evike sells. They're never going to say it's bad. Because it's a product they're trying to sell you. Because by you watching that video, you're incentivized to potentially buy the product.
Who's that? It's called the Angry Airsoft or what?
Oh, Negative Airsoft?
Negative Airsoft?
The angry British tech?
Yeah.
Yeah, Negative Airsoft.
He's just a dude.
Yeah,
that
I feel
does
like he's
tech work. He sells his services, and I think because I think he mentioned it in a video. I think what started him filming himself teching was mainly just like insurance, so that if somebody claimed he did something to their gun that he didn't do, well, he had it documented.
Yeah.
And then it just blew up because he's a real personality.
Yeah,
He's like
personality.
he's like the Gordon Ramsay of teching, you know. And
piston.
yeah, and techs will, you know, other techs can be so techs are like tradesmen. You know, you'll never have somebody go to look at like the deck in your backyard and look at the deck that somebody else built and be like, oh yeah, they did it 100% right. You'll never see it. They'll always be like, you know, they, oh man, they did that. It's going to be a lot to fix, you know, but we're going to do this right. And every tech has that attitude. And as a tradesman, because of your experience, and it's like, you need to have that assumption because you want to do the job right the first time. And you can't assume that everything's, I just made a whole video talking about this.
No, it's so funny though that you make that reference because I have lived that personally. So I've told both of you guys that like we had an issue at my house with the front door and the contractor that my mom hired fucked up the door. She has had 3 different contractors come in the last week to look at the door to repair it after the work the original contractor did. And all of them acted like that. They all looked at it and were like, I would have never done that. Like, you could do it this way and it would have been way more efficient, would have saved you money. Like, we'll do you right. The next contractor comes in, says the exact same thing about something different. Like, I'm listening to it. And every time my mom's just like, they're really good. I think we might go with them. I'm like, Mom, call another contractor.
Yeah.
Like, get another opinion. Because if they all keep acting like that, we need to figure out which one's not bullshitting you.
No, none of them are bullshitting you, right? Contracting, well,
okay.
You have experience with that.
There are scammers. They do exist.
Yeah, but
the witch hunt and the fear of, is this person a scammer? It gets very easy to believe that everybody's a scammer
Yeah.
because this guy's very confident in saying that the other guy ripped you off.
That's it.
you
Yeah.
know? And they're a professional and they have a lot of conviction right now as they're talking to you. They are so why would they be so convinced if they were lying?
Dave, you want to come look at my front door and see if any of the contractors were bullshitting me?
You know?
it's a front door, man.
Yeah.
Like that's, I mean, you're talking, it wouldn't be 101 stuff. It would be like 102.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody can hang a door, dude.
I can't hang a door. I can't build a box to
Anybody
shoot.
in that industry should be able to hang a front door, no problem. Like,
Yeah.
like they shouldn't even go there and be like, oh yeah, that contractor fucked up. They should just be like, oh yeah, I can do this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's got to pull out everything he did and then fucking redo it.
Yeah,
Whatever.
and so that's why there's qualms with Negative Airsoft, right? But you don't hear about him ripping people off. Like he does right by his customers. He posts his content. He shares his theories and methods. Like this is how I shim. This is how I do things. I like these parts. And you know, people have opinions about it, and they have a stick up their ass about it because they can't accept that somebody uses a different piston than they use. And
A SEMA piston.
same old piston and a spetting arms, you know. But his videos are super entertaining.
Yeah, but they're also super informative. Now, maybe.
What's
Dave-
nice is there's a gun I haven't worked on yet,
And he has.
and he's worked on it. I know that he's not going to like cut out certain parts of the video just to make it like cohesive. He's going to show all the good, bad, and ugly in the gun from his perspective.
But maybe now I only just made this connection. Maybe that's an age thing. Maybe that's a time in the sport thing. Like for us, we're looking for content where it's like, give me the information I actually want, which is good, viable, solid information. Maybe the kid on day one, or even, you know, the first 2 years they're playing Airsoft isn't looking for that because they're not jaded by Airsoft yet. But they're coming into it just looking for that entertaining high kill. I want to watch $1,000 unboxing video. Maybe that's why they do so well. And that's why people end up looking at them like it's gospel, because they haven't gotten to that point of going, all right, I've seen all this bullshit. Show me actual information I want to see. Maybe that's why negative Airsoft is so good to us, but other people are watching going, this is boring. I don't want to see it.
Yeah. So some people could get turned off by his character.
Not even just him. I'm talking about content like that in general, like the category of truly informative, like gives me information that's valuable. And as long as I form my own opinion based off of what I'm viewing, like I'm going to come out of this net positive.
That's the arc of anything, really. You know, you start off just watching gameplay videos, and then you start off, and then you're like, oh, this is interesting. Like, and then maybe you go to like general tactics videos or how to set up the exterior of your gun. This is why my laser goes here. And then as you progress and become more mature in the sport, now you want to know why your motor sounds like poo poo. Yeah. You know, like it's just a natural progression, and that could be applied to anything, to cars, to building homes, whatever. You know, it's like, just a natural arc, and then you end up, you know, watching all the drama videos, and then you're like, fuck Airsoft, I'm done.
Yeah, like I've played into it. My personal YouTube channel, all my gameplay videos are just shooting dudes point blank, running through buildings, couple thousand views on them. Like, that's cool. Yeah. Me looking back on them now, I like making those videos and I enjoy making them, but I don't watch anything like that. I end up watching negative Airsoft, or I end up watching stuff in that nature.
I was going to ask you guys, so if you do, because I don't watch a lot of, like, I don't go on YouTube to deliberately watch Airsoft stuff anymore. No. Because like I watched a lot of gameplay videos when I was younger and couldn't play whenever I wanted to. And I was just chairsofting and living vicariously through the content and fantasizing about playing one day. I was like 13, right? I could just come out whenever I wanted. Yeah. I needed mom's permission, and I didn't have a job. I needed money and all that stuff. I don't really watch content now. So like if I do watch Airsoft content now, I want to watch another tech and talk like negative Airsoft when I'm teching on guns. Yeah. Because it makes me not go insane when I'm alone in the shop every day.
You're just worried about the ghosts.
Just when you work alone.
It's like your nightlight.
Yeah, when you work alone all the time, like I do work well alone. I focus better alone, but like I'm also a social creature. Mm-hmm. I like to interact with people. So it's nice to have things in the background. And if it's Airsoft related, it kind of keeps me I don't know,
in the zone.
I'll watch that stuff, but I won't really watch Navrich's gameplay videos.
I can't watch gameplay.
I don't watch gameplay videos. Airsoft Alphonse videos are like cool in that he travels to different parts of the world, but like I honestly don't watch his videos like that.
Well, because all the gameplay videos to me, they're all the same.
Yeah,
they're all the same.
Yeah,
like maybe there's somebody out there who's putting in a lot of production value and like creating a story, telling a story, right? Telling a story with the gameplay.
Admin's video at Shally.
Genius. I haven't watched that one yet.
Genius. It's different. It's creative. You know, that's like an art piece.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
I can't watch it. To me, it's like, ugh.
I mean, we saw it trying to do something like what Admin did too with like the Benghazi video. The video was 4 hours long by the time it was done. And a lot of people did watch it and they enjoyed it, but it's one of those like we were there. Like even Dave said, he's like, I couldn't sit through it. It was so boring. There were people coming up to me and like, dude, that was awesome. And I sat there going, I thought it was shit. Like it felt good, but I also understood that it was boring as fuck. But some people are there for it in the same way that some people are there to watch those 20, 30-minute gameplay videos where it's just a dude walking through the woods for 15 minutes.
I'm okay with that as long as it tells a story. Like I feel like we should fucking do this. It's like with graphics and like a map, and it's like, you know, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. This is the goal.
Yeah. And
I have 12 of my buddies who all know how to do a contact front. You know what I mean? Like that shit from multiple camera angles would be fucking dope, dude. Like I'd get into that because, you know, hitting a person with a BB to me at this point is kind of like whatever. You do it 10 times a day or whatever the fuck. But it's the method.
Yes.
It's the method. Did you have to crawl on your face for 50 meters because you needed to and you did it and it paid off, and it puts you in a position that your support by fire, who you just radioed in, they open up and now you're in a position to assault through. And when you did assault through, all your guys stood up at the same time and you walked forward online, and
And
to me,
everybody's got a camera on, so now this
the minutia, to me, the minutia of the tactics is more entertaining than watching a BB bounce off somebody and then him being like, oh, see this cheater, he didn't call his hit.
That's why early Novic videos were entertaining, because you're watching him climb and crawl. He wasn't just sniping. It wasn't just his scope cam. You know, like he'd draw his sidearm and he would narrate over it to give some context to what he was doing.
I want to see the tactics. I want to see the planning. I mean, and I don't know. I want to see it in the tree line too. I've seen so much CQB shit. Like airsofters are pretty decent at that. Like,
the sad reality though is that you and I and Anthony would love that. The question is if the airsoft community as a whole actually wants to see that.
I don't even care. I would just do it because it would be fun to do.
So let's do it.
Oh my God.
I got like 10 contour cameras. Let's do it.
Well, primetime Jinxie would have been the time to do it. But now Jinxie's dead.
If that's an idea you want to roll with, I think we try that content, because
especially now with the boss units, like a contact front is so much more kinetic now. Like,
actually, if the three of us went and played with cameras,
right,
and if Jordan were to compile it and edit it, we use the map. And
you just got to tell a story.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
So maybe we have a notepad, and maybe we just like jot down what happened in what order. So when you're editing,
I have a box
cohesive.
That box has 10 contour cameras.
But what's cool is
I've got a 4K cameras.
What's cool with the boss units and doing a video like that is through each of our cameras, you'll be able to hear where
And now the fucked part is this would be awesome to do during the anniversary game, but absolutely none of us are going to have time to play.
Yeah, it's going to be.
However, our schedules are super busy, and like you've always said, you don't know what you're doing for the next 2 months. How is that possible? Like, make your schedule. We'll pick a day, excuse me, like March, we can shoot for March. We'll pick a Sunday in March where we say, hey, look, the three of us are all playing this day, full field conquest, first game after lunch. We're going to do this.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, because we have 2 months to plan this day out, we can then say to all the boys, like Hoff, Connor, Sean, Tyler, hey, get your asses over here because we need you for a video, and you're all wearing cameras and you're just going to play.
Well, and they all know how to do
exactly what you want to do.
They all know how to do it. So.
And then we can sit there and be like, okay, we are actually going to play as a group. Everybody shut up and actually move through the woods like this is a legit game, and it's not just us lollygagging around the field.
It is a legit game.
Yeah, you need to put that's what I'm saying. This is a legit game. It's not just us, trotting down the back trail, making smokes and jokes until we get a contact front. No, everybody actually take this seriously. We want to film a video, and it's going to be a gameplay video. And then we go do exactly what we
It's going to be exactly what I don't watch on YouTube.
Yeah, and we're going to do it.
Video.
And I will scrounge up. I already have one run cam. I can try and scrounge up like 2 or 3 more just so we have it for use. Somebody can put it on their gun. Everybody wears a contour. Everybody turns it on. Everybody do your contour checks. And we'll go do it. And turn it on and don't turn it off until the game's over. And then we'll take that back and we'll make the video you're talking about.
Yeah.
Remember the time we gave players cameras in CQB and it was like a pistol only game?
Yeah, that was super fun. The problem I had with it was to do it again. There's a fine balance between what I can do while I'm reffing and what I could do if I take a day off from reffing and focus entirely on video. That's why for like days like the anniversary game, I don't put myself on the schedule as a ref, but I know I'm going to be on the field almost the entire day doing media work. It's a lot easier if I don't have to balance those two. If I can primarily do media, we can do shit like that. Like taking the drone on the field while I'm reffing is next to impossible. I've tried to do it. No matter how I try to do it, it's a pain in the ass. Because as soon as I put that drone in the air, a player's going to come over and be like, ref, can I defog my iPro? Or like, ref, this rental shooting full auto or blind firing. And now I have to prioritize the safety over the media. If there's other uniformed refs on the field that can handle it, and I'm here strictly for media, I can hand out 8 cameras. I can put the drone in the air. I can walk around with 2 DSLRs and take photos and videos at the same time. Balancing those two makes it really hard.
How do you guys feel about drones in airsoft? Not from a medium standpoint.
From a player standpoint, I think if you put your drone in the air, you have to be confident in flying it, but you also have to be acceptable of the fact that if you put it in the air for gameplay resources, it has to be able to be shot down. So do not get pissed if it gets shot down.
I agree with that. I think if it's an asset.
Yeah, if it's a game asset, it has to be able to be shot. The problem I have with that as a media standpoint is distinguishing the drone I'm using to film you versus the drone that's reconning you. Yeah,
no,
that's the problem.
So in a world where there's no social media, and you're simply using the drone for intel, right?
Yes, if you put that drone in the air, you should be confident in your flying skills, but also comfortable with the fact that because you're now using it to gain intel and assets,
part of the game.
It's part of the game.
It's like if you drove your vehicle on the field.
Yeah,
it's part of the
like
game.
if you drove your vehicle on the field, it's the same way you have your red dot on your gun. Don't get mad when your optic gets shot out because you didn't put a lens protector on it.
Yeah.
If you put that drone in the air to get intel for the game, don't get pissed when it gets shot down by a player that shoots it out of the sky.
Okay, scenario time. Scenario time. We should have a little jingle. Scenario time. Guy puts a drone in the air. In-game drone.
Yeah.
We flank around because we're making a cool video, and we shoot the operator. What happens to the drone? What should it do?
Technically, okay.
Well, technically, it should just hover there until the battery dies.
Technically, it should just hover there till the battery dies. From a human standpoint of me understanding the price of drones,
we're taking this down the absurd. We're going down the absurd
I say
rabbit hole.
let them return the drone.
the polite thing is say, hey, return your drone to home. The unpolite thing is saying, hey, we just killed you. We're going to borrow your drone real quick.
Right.
And we're going to use it to fly it around the field and get assets for the area we're about to assault. And then you can hand it back to him and say, hey, return your drone to home, but we got you. So like,
Yeah, but then somebody's going to crash other people's drones. And
Yeah, but we're not talking about that, right? So we're in a world where we're not.
you're in Ukraine and you just smoked a
Yeah,
drone
right.
over your
Like
position.
realistically, but it's airsoft, right? And we're in a world where as a player, I signed up. I have a drone. Maybe there's a drone operator freaking thing. I know that my drone is part of the game, can be destroyed, could be destroyed,
will probably be destroyed.
and also taken. If you know what I mean, like that's the world I'm.
So the answer to that is really cheap drones.
Yeah.
So for Christmas,
Yeah.
my dad got my son this it had to have been a $20 Temu drone because I've seen
I
it on
love
Temu.
that.
And this drone is like so small. So that's another thing, like safety of the drone, because some of these drones are really fucking dangerous. Like they will
Yeah.
cut. CivDiv made a video. He
Yeah.
showed how he got really cut up by a drone they were making. There should be a weight, like a max weight requirement.
Well, everybody's gonna have the DJI.
So now,
Mavic.
if you think of this, right
Oh, well, that's an expensive ass drone.
now,
Well,
now,
but it's most popular.
the
too.
capability of airsoft guns are not that of what it is we're actually imitating,
Yeah. No. Yeah.
right? So the capability of the drone for the sake of this game, if you have a tiny drone that has a long battery life and can go super far range, that's one thing. But so my son's $20 Temu drone, it has an FPV camera on it. You can control it with or without FPV, but there's an app you get on your phone. You mount it to the controller. So if you were to deploy that drone really quick so that you can see what was on the other side of a building and give call outs on the radio, you could do it. Its range is not super impressive. If you drive it out of range, it is just going to fall,
Nice.
right? But it's so cheap
That doesn't matter.
that exactly. It's so
Yeah.
cheap that it doesn't matter. So if I got that, an EG frag's $12.
Yeah.
And sometimes you throw it and don't even get a kill. But there's a lot of drone kills you can get, whether it's through call outs or if you were to incorporate it for call for fire.
Yeah.
If you get shot out, who cares? And the limitation of its range and also its stability in the air because it's so lightweight. A little bit of wind.
It's also probably not GPS.
A little bit of wind will make it
Yeah.
tricky. But also if it crashes into somebody, it's not going to hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
And the most valuable part of that drone is just your phone, which you're going to have on you. Everything else is really cheap and I'd say disposable. That is really cool. I think that's the way to do it.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm looking at a direct copy of the DJI Mavic on Amazon that looks exactly like ours.
Mhm.
It is $50.
Oh,
and if you
damn.
buy it in gray, it's on sale for $40 right now. It has 4.4 stars out of 5 with 500 reviews. Comes with 2 batteries, the controller that you put your phone into, and extra rotor blades. For that price, no, not everyone's gonna have a DJI Mavic. They're gonna have this fucking thing because
Yeah,
if they
right.
slam it into a tree. Whatever, man. I was out $40. Buy 3 of them. Now, I don't trust that camera to be good enough quality to do the recordings with the drones that we do.
No, it's just there to say, there's a bad guy right
Yeah,
over
but
there.
if you're like, hey, I just need to fly this thing really fast across the field and maybe drop an EG frag, see if there's a dude in the backside of hospital, great.
How do we feel about dropping EG frags?
Well, if we're okay with shooting the drone out of the air, the drone should potentially have a way.
If it's dropping frags, it's got to be a
So
level shot.
look at it from a standpoint of you're okay with flying it, which means
Yeah.
you're okay with it being shot down. But if you're okay with it being shot down, that drone should potentially have some kind of countermeasures to defend itself, which would be dropping.
No,
it
the
ground.
countermeasure is the intel.
The last thing you want is the drone falling on somebody's head.
Yeah.
And also those blades move really fast.
So maybe instead of a minimum,
in order to
requirement,
carry a frag and the payload that would drop that frag,
You pull the pin.
you're adding weight to this drone. This drone has to be built. It's like putting a stronger spring in your airsoft gun.
Yeah.
This motor is going to have this drone's going to have strong motors for the rotors, and if that thing, like, it might hit a tree and
Blenders.
fall down, or it might, you're trusting players at that point to responsibly drive a drone. So, like my son's drone, it has these guards around the little propeller. It's a really tiny, small. I think starting with a small toy drone and even making a list of accepted drones, like we have to accept certain iPro if there's questions about it.
Yeah.
It'd be so few people that would be using it, and it'd be a worthy experiment.
Well,
and I'd say for dropping grenades, using it for stuff like that would be an admin role for ops.
So
Where we're using the drone.
one way that you
to
could
drop
get around the
grenades.
safety aspect is for any player that's going to be using said drone, they have to have that FAA drone pilot certification. For insurance purposes.
I guess.
I'd
I
say-
mean, we're getting into the weeds of it.
I know, but I'm saying if in a theoretical
I'm thinking
world,
more about gameplay, like how could it affect gameplay?
here.
Is it even feasible? Like, I don't care about the legality of.
Okay,
I'm
so
not saying I
in
don't
terms-
care about it. I'm just saying that's not.
That's not what the question is.
It's not interesting to me. I don't care if they have an FAA license because they're all bullshit anyway.
So in
Right,
terms
like-
of feasibility, I will tell you the one gripe I have with all the drone stuff here. We've used drones at events where they have worked perfectly because of the environment. As soon as we hit May, you can't.
Oh yeah, the leaves.
You
Yeah.
can't see dick in the tree line.
Yeah, it's dumb.
So all you can see is what's in the buildings
Yeah.
and what's down in Newtown, and is there somebody on the mosque roof, and like are they
Well,
in
that's
Africa?
where the small cheap drones that Anthony's talking about that are they're integral to your squad.
Yes.
And say I'm just looking out the window at Newtown. Say you're down at Newtown, you're like, I know there's guys on the opposite side of Newtown, so short range.
Yes.
You just throw this little dragonfly up and
So in
look
that
over like,
case-
okay, yeah, they're in the back. And then you go too far and it falls down and nobody even sees it, but you have the capability and you gain the intel and
In that way, it would work really well. In the same way that if you strapped a frag to it, and then
couldn't
you're like, I don't know if there's anybody in the helicopter. You fly it into the helicopter and blow your drone up. So
yeah.
yeah, everybody in the helicopter is now dead.
I spend a lot of time studying and prototyping stuff out for the sake of seeing how you can integrate a drone operator on the squad level.
Mhm.
Because, like, again, we see it in stuff like this is not normal in big army, like for the US. Like, it's not to say that drones don't get used; they do get used, but coming up with a role
Yeah.
Within the squad.
and maximizing the capability of the
Yeah.
drone, aside from just being like a surveil, like, a UAS or I mean, I don't even think we're dropping grenades from drones. Like, I don't even think that's
No,
a
the
thing.
U.S. drops Hellfires from drones.
Right, but those are different
The
drones.
Hellfire middle.
Those are like basically aircraft.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
I'm
you're talking
talking
about like the
the
Switchblades.
small
Yeah.
commercial
Yeah,
drones,
like a DJI Maverick. or
yeah.
Mavic.
So, like, that's one of the things I actually work on
Yeah.
with Tyler. And part of it is making it compact, and also, like, it's almost taking like the Ranger handbook and those tactics with the, that team that we are working with to implement this stuff at West Point. And consulting with them, because our aim, it's so when things get developed, usually you see that these big brains and big wigs come up with this cool tech, right? And there's a lot of capabilities, and then they send it down, and now it's like they end up not getting used because these dudes are just like, what? It's the mindset of like, my stock's wobbly, I'm going to put duct tape on it. I'm not going to rewrite all these SOPs to use this tech.
Yeah.
So it's not built from the ground up to integrate. They have to integrate with it,
Yeah.
and it is not the equalizer for them,
No, I get what you're
because
saying.
the tech's not that groundbreaking.
Yeah, but I
know?
think in terms, I mean, you're talking real world, right?
Yeah.
Where
Well, no, the thing is,
it matters, but
the theory is real world. That's what the experiments are for, but we only ever use it in training exercises, which is practically airsoft. So in the context of airsoft, we use these drones. So we try to see how, I don't know how it would play out in real life. You know, I mean, there's definitely a lot of things you can do in real life, in a real scenario, that you can't do in a training environment where there's a bunch of regulations on how you fly those drones.
Oh,
you know,
sure, but we're talking about airsoft, where if one
know.
guy in the freaking squad has a drone, they throw it up real
right.
quick.
But
No big
like
deal.
thinking the tactics is like, so the CQB tactics, how to ply a room, how do you have a stack go through hallways, and all that stuff. Well, the same thing applies to drones. I think the use for it in the summer when there's a bunch of trees is the use of drones is not just throwing it all the way up in the air with thermals, UAS, and dropping grenades. It's also like you could be at mosque. You could be in a small area.
Yeah.
And all you need is just to briefly see what's on the other side of that
That's it.
building.
Yeah.
And you deploy it quickly. The range of these small toy drones are adequate for that.
Yeah.
And if you push it too far, it's just going to fall.
Or they'll shoot it down.
You're going to have to recover it.
So the follow-up question is, because I only just thought of this, how much information is too much information? Because we've talked about this with thermals.
It's not necessarily the information. It's the method of gaining the information, right? With a thermal,
Yeah,
you just look through it.
correct.
With a drone, you've got to get to a secure area. The ranges on these $34 drones is nothing. So you're not sitting,
Yeah,
hundreds of meters back. You're up in it. Then you have to get security for somebody. You have to have the time to pull this thing out, connect to Bluetooth, whatever.
okay.
Pass it, you know what I mean?
Point you're making. Like,
Whereas-
it's not just as simple as let me flip my thermal over and see if they're
Yeah.
good, and like because the buildings are made out of plywood, I can see through the cracks, so I have wall hacks now.
Yeah.
What I would want if I was a drone operator in a squad and we were doing 3 flag mosque and we're trying to, or even if mosque was just an objective in conquest.
Yeah.
Like what I would want if I was that, I want this thing to be small, quick and easy to deploy. I want an assistant drone operator that can, 1 or 2 assistant drone operators that can cover me while I operate the drone.
Sure.
And either myself or another person on a radio with the rest of the squad giving the call outs. Because like when you're holding the controller in one hand and you're trying to focus
It's
on
like
it,
trying to press the push to talk.
yeah, and we like the FPV goggles because when it's bright outside, you can still clearly see the drone. It
Yeah.
makes it very easy to maneuver with it. But now you're completely blind. You're very vulnerable, and you absolutely need
you're completely.
you absolutely need an assistant operator to escort you, even if he has to move you to cover or whatever. And then if you have a screen, it's like the sun glare on it. Like
Yeah.
it sucks. It's really difficult to see.
I think in this case, in this scenario that we're kind of we're kind of playing out in our minds here, it's going to be your phone.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be your phone. You're going to have to take the controller out or have the controller out or know that you're going to do that. So yeah, you need security. And then you're going to need a radio man next to you when you're just like, hey, there is a guy around there, depending on what you're trying to do. To give your squad live updates, like, hey, stop! There's a guy right around the corner to the right, and then your battery dies. You know what I mean? Or you go a little bit too far.
A random player that comes that has a little drone and they're going to use it, but they don't have a radio. They didn't come with a group of friends. They have no call outs. Like nothing's like contact front. There's no like set dialogue. You say this when this happens, and we know what that means. If you're just going to fly the drone by yourself,
You're not gaining any.
you're just making yourself vulnerable to get shot. Your drone's probably just going to crash, and then you're going to have to retrieve it, and then it's not going to be fun. Like it'll only be fun if you have a group of people and you can communicate with them.
Yeah, teamwork.
Yeah,
Teamwork is fun.
yeah.
So what if we integrate this idea into that March video idea?
Oh, I don't know, man. Let's get there first.
So if it works, sorry, excuse me. If the video idea for March goes well, the next time we do it, we integrate a drone.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Does the drone you were looking at that's $34 have a record feature?
It does. So here's the one thing
probably potato.
here's the one thing I'll say
That's the
about
thing. It'll look like a live leak video. It's more immersion.
here's the one thing I'll say about these cheaper Chinese drones, which is why I actually think it's perfect for airsoft for now until drones get better. If we can get bigger, more capable drones that are more safe and less expensive. The battery life sucks. The camera only works if you use your phone, which means you have to get an app, and this app has Chinese firmware.
Yeah. Burner phone.
Yeah.
Like these drones are mass produced in China, and understand that they're only so cheap because it's like Temu level cheap. Like you're the product. Like nothing's free.
Yeah.
If it's that cheap, it's because you're the product. And who knows, the prices of these
Just
cheap
the
drones.
spyware that gets uploaded to your phone is the product.
Yeah. So if you're going to use this drone for airsoft, like,
Fucking burner phone, man.
I mean, honestly, for airsoft, I think it'd be perfect.
I have a burner phone.
Look at that auto hovering and voice control.
Yeah.
Tyler had to pay like $2,000 for
this is
to do that.
This is a $35 Amazon one. This isn't quite what my
Tyler had that cool one where you just like wear.
You wear the little
thing.
tracking beacon and it
Yeah.
follows you.
That's cool.
But he realized like that's one of those tricks that only works once or twice because
Yeah, because everybody just looks up and goes, "Oh, he's over there."
yeah. After they realized that the drone was following him around, they're like, "Wait a minute, there's a guy over there."
Yeah.
It's kind of in the same way where players have started to figure out if they see me pointing my camera in a direction and it looks like I'm taking a photo, there's probably a player
Well,
there.
sure.
Yeah.
They're learning. They're getting smarter. See, they're adapting and evolving. It's a good thing.
Yeah, but then I feel bad for the player I just got smoked because I was trying to take a cool photo of him.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
Okay. With that, good night. God bless. We're out.